Hello everyone, and the theme of today's presentation will be Little Bobby's Journey into the Land of Information Security, 2018 edition. So it doesn't matter the name. Unfortunately, not many people are here. Not that I care, but some of my clients, they can find themselves in. My mom, my sister, my brother, my daughter. So we share kind of the same problems. And if I was only going to talk about Carbon Black, I would do severe injustice to what I have to say. So basically, I will try to go through questions like, there are like 5 W plus H questions that we all like to know when we deal with incidents. So I try to correlate that with the thing that we find on a daily basis. I want to tell you the message, and I will try to give you, by the end of the presentation, the message that I intended for this presentation. So for those who don't know me, this is me, and this is my Twitter handle. So basically, if you want to know more about me, you can see on a company website, you can ask me on Twitter, although I tend to be a little offensive, so if you are like, if you're easily offensible, then you won't get into a conversation with me. Anyways, regarding who, sorry, I have this one. This is actually quite good. My daughter asked me, a few days ago, she had a project for school, and she asked me actually, Dad, I know what Mom does for a living. She saves people, and you never talk about your job. And I said, like, my job is actually quite similar to your mom's. She's a doctor. I also kill viruses. And she was like, can this virus do something harmful to me? And I said, like, not physically, but yes, it can do stuff to your laptop, to your tablet. She's 8 years old and she already has tablet. She already has a laptop. And it was like, if you're infected, then you'll have problems with your laptop. But, you know, it's still not a virus if it doesn't harm me. And I was like, yeah, if you had problems with your laptop, you'd probably feel miserable. And she was like, yeah, and what do you do then? And I said, like, I tend to make people less miserable. That's what I do. So, and I told her, like, people tend to do complex stuff, and they tend to overcomplicate things. I try to simplify things. I try to translate what I do into something that's comprehensible by regular Joe you can find on street. So, I also do hex, because binaries for losers. Anyways, sometimes it does look like a witchcraft. She tends to go over my shoulder and she's asking, what are these weird things like, this is hex? Anyways, the main subject of this presentation is information security. I do believe that most of people are here for, maybe for food as well, and drinks and stuff, but yeah, information security. So what I do on a regular basis, and I see with my clients, is that you have your dumps. Sooner or later, you'll get some of your database dumps, some of your customers' data on Pastebin. You also, I had one client, actually he's not here, so good, you know, I'm not talking about names, but he was actually a board member, and he had an unencrypted laptop that he put on a backseat of his car. It was summer, it was really hot, and he left his windows open because otherwise it would be too hot. Since it was a public place, I can relate to him, you know, it's not easy, especially if you have like leather, you know, seats and everything, it's really too hot. But the fact that he's having really sensitive data on his laptop never occurred on his mind. It's not that only his laptop is like expensive, and that's not the biggest issue. Informations on his laptop are 10 times more expensive. Regarding passwords, so there have been multiple dumps in the last few years. I can only mention, for example, one that I have. I have LinkedIn dump. And a lot of you like to contact me on LinkedIn, like, can you join everything? And I I'm trying to resist the urge for people who contact me on on LinkedIn to see their username because we have that dump because it occurs in 2012. And I'm betting that 90% of the people have the same password even now, even though their password has leaked like 5 years ago, and even worse, that they use the same password on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. So basically, we fall for the easiest tricks. I have one chairman of the board that reused the same password on LinkedIn as he used on his corporate emails. And he was blackmailed because all of his emails were stolen from him. That's quite, regular. We can talk about next generation something, but we fall for the easiest ones. So if attacker tries to attack you, he's not trying to, everyone's talking about, we can stop APTs. Dude, if your password is on LinkedIn, LinkedIn got dumped, you reuse the same password, you haven't changed it for like 5 years, there's no anti-APT zero-day solution that's gonna help you. It's just, you being an ignorant conformist. I wouldn't say stupid because that's like too harsh, but yeah.
No,
you know where
not.
I'm getting.
Stupid's okay.
Yeah.
I'm stupid sometimes.
Also, you tell me like, yeah, hacking and stuff, but I don't do Russians. We don't deal with Russians. Like, why Russians? But most of the time I hear Russians. And the thing is that I also had quite a few situations where board members, I wouldn't say that they're lazy, but they have too much job to do. And their threat model is like, my assistant is young, hot, she's 25, she knows what she's doing, and she'll send emails for me. And then, after a certain email, there has been a huge issue, and the police came and everything, and it's like, who has your passwords? And in the end, it ended up, domain admin had passwords, assistant had passwords, some other guy had passwords, and he's not locking his computer, and all of a sudden, everyone has chairman of the board's password. No APT solution against that. So this is kind of usual routine, especially for guys. No one wants to admit it, but it happens. So you do porn on your company laptop because you are either too cheap to buy a new one or you're too lazy to open up a virtual machine, whatever. And then you say, but yeah, I don't use i6 and those exploits, they don't apply to me. It's like I'm not getting infected. Also, you do play Clash Royale whenever you can. You use like different kind of things for company laptop, but you're trying to do some ultra sandboxing, something, I won't mention names again, companies. So they sold me like the best anti-APT solution ever, so I can do porn. Great. You also need SIEM solution. You're 100% sure that you need it, and you tell to your board members, you're a member of security, but you don't know what events you want to record. You don't have a notion of what is important for your company. You also want to do next-gen, all-in-one solution, but you never asked your network guys, is my network, for example, flat? Do I have recent patches on my service? But you need the latest and the greatest anti-something solution that will solve all of your problems. You also want 100% so the question usually is like, do you have a ransomware solution? Yeah, sure, why not? The thing is that you never dare to ask your system administrators, sat with them and ask them what can we do to mitigate those stuff? App blocker, exploit guard, anything that can help that is actually free of charge, that can help you mitigate without buying some expensive solution. And I'm not trying to be destructive or try not to buy something. It's just people first, technology second. Also, you don't want, not that you don't want, you don't have the time to make your people to think, awareness sessions. So talking to all of the people in your company at least once per year, tell them how things can go wrong, how their threat model is wrong, what can they do to be smarter than they are now. I teach my wife, I teach my mom, I teach my kids. My kid, for example, I had an issue where I was called by her teacher. She told me that she didn't want to be in the group photo because she said, apparently, and I didn't tell her, that if she's on that group photo, she'll end up on picture, online, and everyone will see it, and it cannot be deleted. And I was like, well, she was right. And she's 8 years old, just to remind you. And her teacher was like, yeah, but everyone takes a photo. And I said, like, everyone votes for X, and everyone listens to Britney Spears, which doesn't mean actually that it's a good thing. So I told her that, yeah, you can do that via new regulatory, mandatory things that are forcing you in European Union, but it can change over time. So basically, if you don't teach your kids, your mom, your parents, your chairman of the board, if you don't teach accountant that has billions on her accounts and she pays large amount of money every day for whoever, for your business, she doesn't know that. I had a situation where it was an insurance company where accountant was paying bills, so she had like 100,000 K bills. And the thing is that she was surfing the web, she was looking for chairs. And website didn't have same origin policy applied, and they had ads on the site, and ads were pointing to exploit kit, and it was, I don't know what, but it was like they had Java 6 exploits, and she used Java 6 because, of course, she has an accounting system that only supports Java 6. And what happened? She got hacked, and by stroke of luck, they didn't lose much money, but it could happen. And all that she was like, I'm not surfing gambling site, I was just looking for chairs. And I was like, I went to the site, and then I've noticed the issue. So seemingly random stuff, not connected, end up losing lots of money. Regarding next generation, because this is my presentation on next generation things, can you sell me your next generation product and deploy it like 3 to 5 days and not consult us anymore? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it's manageable, so you don't have money for analysts, you don't have money for tech guys. You actually hate those tech guys because they are doing loads of stuff they shouldn't do. They always drink, they barf, they laugh, like they're just ridiculous. So you don't want to talk to them. So you want me to sell you something that will help you manage that stuff. And it does work for a couple of days, months maybe, but it ends up something similar to this. So where does it happen? I mean, it happens everywhere. There's some nations that are better than others. So yeah, China is the devil. So they have one unit. It's called PLA 61398. That's actually run by Chinese generals. And out of, I think, 10 FBI's most wanted list, 5 of them are from the PLA unit, which means that they're really good. And the thing is that in 2015, Barack Obama and Xi Jinping made a pact that they won't attack each other, which resulted in at least 500 people from FireEye getting sacked, and a lot of Chinese losing their job in China. And can you guess what happened? Ransomware. So people need to earn money. Also, Russians. So Russians are, we have like more commonalities with Russians, especially regarding language and culture and everything. So we know that enemy a bit better. We don't understand Chinese. You need to learn like 2,000 pictograms to be literate, at least up to 7,000. But with Russians, you actually know your enemy quite good. We have one team that is a specifically good sandworm team that is actually not run by government, but they heavily are used by government during some campaigns. For example, Shamoon attack in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Aramco. If it wasn't King's family, it would probably go out of business. And we're talking about multi-billion-dollar company, oil company, that was like, they completely wiped 30,000 computers in one day. So yeah, they are capable. In Ukraine's Oblenergo, I think it was 2 years ago, they shut down the whole grid. I mean, almost half of Ukraine was out of power. And by, again, stroke of luck, they have manual ways to get up the network. if it was in the US, there would probably be years before they can restore the complete grid. So they are quite capable. Also, US, so Kings goes lost. Equation Group, so they have, NSA has their tailored access operation group that attacks different targets throughout the world, that has backdoors on your latest and greatest next-gen vendor something, because they don't need it, they might not need it now, but once we hear about there were some leaks recently where you've seen some really big vendors accidentally forgetting backdoors on their devices. Also, I think that Equation Group is the only group in the world that can afford to burn 0 days on one target, and that was Stuxnet. But that's all nice. I mean, that's all cool. But this is your enemy. So, I mean, it's really cool to hear all those stories about how those people like burn 0 days, which every one of them is worth at least 100Ks. But this is the guy that's your problems. Like, he's eating shit in his office, he's drinking, playing games, mining cryptocurrencies, he's doing like his work 2 hours a day, and all of a sudden you want to do something about it. And you tell him like, dude, this has to stop. You need to come in suit, you need to eat proper food, you need to work 8 hours that I'm paying you. And then you realize that for the last 10 years, he was your domain admin, he was your network admin, he was like doing pretty much everything for you, and you were being cheap, you were being lazy, and you neglected what he did. You never checked what he did. So he runs completely parallel business. You didn't care, but all of a sudden, you just poked him. He's angry, obviously. So, why do you usually care about security? You usually care about security, and you usually call me when something happens. When I tried to tell that before, I mean, it's cool, it's nice. I'm a really nice person, we can drink beers, coffee and everything, but you don't call me out of business. You don't want to buy something from me, especially not the service. But if something happens, then we are your best friends. Regulator forces you to do it. If you're a bank, if you're a telco, there are certain types of industries where regulators has some enforcement, and then you don't have the option to avoid that, so you call us as well. Also, this paranoia is recently, I think, one of the first drives why people call security consultants, is that you're afraid of your system administrators. Whenever you have new board member that wasn't board member before, his primary concern is regarding system administrators, because these are evil guys who have keys to all your doors, and they look pissed. So yeah, but the fact is that you systematically neglected them. So it's like you gave them money to be quiet, and you like, here are keys of my doors, here are keys of my car, and here's my wife. Please leave everything intact. It's not gonna happen, seriously. So now when we know why you called me, there's a reason why all those Chinese, Russians, and everyone love to attack you. First reason, money. Second reason, money. Third reason, money. Fourth reason, money, and probably the fifth. And after that, everyone else. So everyone's making a lot of money. I think last year it was like 10 billions, and the estimate is in next 5 years, the black market industry will rise up to $100 billion, which will probably surpass drugs. Which means that all of your gangsters throughout the world, every mobster on the world dreams of having his own hacking group. Not one hacker, not two hackers, but have a bunch of kids that he will lend a Ferrari, buy a hooker once in a while, and they will hack for him and make billions. No drugs, because drugs is dirty. They need to use a lot of things. They need to bribe police. This is clean. Also, sometimes it's about inequality. So if you run a company, if you run business, and so IT is not your primary target, those people, they feel injustice, inequality, and then they try to make equality by themselves without asking you, of course. Also, deprived morality. That's a nice way to say that someone is crooked. But yeah, there are people who like money and don't have like moral obligation towards you. So they obviously, if they have keys to your doors, it will go very wrong. Boredom is the last one. I wouldn't say it's something, the least one, but money by all means takes the first 5 places. How? When I was writing this, I was like, there's billions of ways that people can compromise you, that can make irreparable damage. Domain administrators, Toad. I was doing stuff with Toad. It's like, what you can do with Toad. Probably some of you know what Toad is. It's a front end for Oracle, and it's a nice application that can run SQL queries. So people do some heavy procedures with that. People that may or may not, they work for reports, accounting, and they don't know that they run slow queries, that they will like destroy the whole database by accident. So you don't never count on them to do really bad stuff. Root account, which means Unix administrators. You have like, this is Nigerian Prince. That's something I also tried to explain to my daughter. She was like, yeah, has anyone offered you $5 million? Like now, it's not like Nigerian. I tried to explain her what Nigerian Prince was, and it's like, you really got called by Nigerian Prince? Yeah. And the thing is that now you get better and better emails. For example, in Croatia, we had recently really good emails in Croatian, which means that people finally got that there are a lot of people who will fall for the same tricks for 150th time. And it's not even that you're stupid. I mean, I almost fall for it because it genuinely looks authentic. You cannot say if it's not. So I basically, from time to time, I run my emails in a sandbox because I'm like, dude, I don't know if this is a scam or not. So they're really good now. With PowerShell. So PowerShell, if you ask Microsoft, PowerShell is next remote administration tool. So you work everything via PowerShell. It's a really good tool. We often use it a lot, but we're red teamers, which means that it's actually not that good for you because it can be leveraged by attackers. Last year, statistics have shown that PowerShell-based attacks have risen for 432%, which means that it's new Visual Basic for your endpoints and for your servers, which is really good thing for attackers because there's no instance of Windows that doesn't run PowerShell. They have some mitigations now, but this is not about mitigations. This is about how we can hack cool stuff. So no, that's for the next talk. Anyway, with your account. So as I told you, like to share passwords. Not only that, you like for some unknown reason, you actually like to give your account to people. You should never do that, but still you do. I don't know why. With USB drive, I'm not selling DLP, but yeah, people do weird stuff with CD-ROMs. Still, CD-ROMs, USB drives, whatever they can push inside your computers, even if it's a JDEC. So they like solder it just to do something stupid. With spreadsheets, yeah. If you go to telco, I don't know about banks, I won't ask now, but like 50% of your business intelligence is running on macros. Come on, people. But for some reason, people really like macros. They like Visual Basic, they like Excel, and you cannot do anything with it. It's just the way it is. So this is one that I particularly like, and I had to put it. I know that everyone will get insulted on this, but it's like your manager comes and he gives you the tablet and is like, look, my kid, he played games, and he was like, he ran out of money and time, and I didn't want to give him the credit card, so he got a crack, and he applied the crack, and now it's a lot of money, but so he can play the game, but there's something weird going on. It's getting hot, the tablet. It's like, okay. And then I see down there is like his corporate email. It's like, was this your laptop? Yeah, but it was old, so I gave it to kid. Did you wipe that laptop? I'm not a security tech guy, so I just gave him because it's old and everything. Great. This is so Angry Birds, because I had at least 2 occurrences where kids were playing Angry Birds with crack applied. this is also one popular. So when you are doing a startup, you usually employ some kid next door who's a really good programmer. He goes to high school and he has like ASP.NET or PHP, something that he'll do for his graduate thesis. And all of a sudden, you're a multi-billion business that's running PHP scripts from 2005, and you need to fix the things very, very quickly. But at the same time, you are telling me that it has an uptime of 100%, and apparently you did not have any issues, security issues with it ever. So the thing is that, again, next generation, I'm not picking on next generation, but we'll change bad security practice, injustice, and greed. So if you think about all those things that I said, so we can put 100,000 devices and people will still do same stuff as they did 20 years ago. And now, this is part of me doing Carbon Black presentation. Anyway, so I actually really like Carbon Black, and the whole presentation was about you need to worry about people, and tool is a hammer. So if you only talk about tool, and if you don't talk about people, it will end up your budget, 90% of your budget will be spent on tools, and you'll have no money for people. That's what I have that issue. So you're buying tools from me, which is a really good thing if you have a lot of money. But at the same time, you don't have money to pay me to help you be better. You and your employees. Which effectively means that when you are run out of support from me, you will end up having really expensive hammers, which is a good thing if you can sell them, but in case of information security, these are just expensive hammers. Actually, what I like about Carbon Black is that it's actually made for analysts. So basically, they have two products. One is next-gen antivirus, and the other one was actually done for analytics. And I was like, so yeah, this is antivirus is a good thing, but I always want them to be merged, and they're merged now. I'll just show you a bit. I'll tease the demo gods. Anyways, so the thing about it, I will show you what customer can see, and then I'll show you what I can see, and it's really good stuff. So, this is a fileless attack, something that you should be worried about. This is not some pre-compiled, this is actually MS Venom, and I have Veil framework that I obfuscated my code. So basically, this is something that he shouldn't recognize the hash, and I should get meter per session. So yeah, I will win, but only temporarily. Just wait for it, wait for it. And now I'm gonna start my code. And here it is, Carbon Black, and he's being really quiet about this. And yeah, I got my session, which means that Carbon Black is losing 1-0 from me. And I'll see my sessions. I don't know if you see that pretty well because resolution obviously sucks, but I'll try to manage that as, yeah. Anyways, I won, 0-1 for me. And what I would like to know is, I would like to obtain, I think, get system. So I can show that I can be system. So no, I cannot. And now, what I need to do is actually, I want to escalate my privileges. And I'll try to use local exploit, UAC bypass. So, bear with me for a moment.
Oh, we got to 1 minute.
Yeah. Oh, come on. I'll try to do is try to run the exploit, which is a really good thing, and now I'll get system privileges, right? No, I have not. And the worst part is that Carbon Black effectively stopped the attack. So yeah, cool, and now that's not the best part. This is a fileless attack which doesn't have like hash built in or some sandbox or something. You actually figure out what I was doing. So if you look at here, this is, I'm offline, so I'm using previous one, but it's the same thing. I'm not online, at least I cannot get my virtual machine. I'll just show you how it looks like. This is real gold for analysts. No, I won't show you, so yeah. Sorry. Can I get a bit more than 1 minute because we were late? Yeah, cool. Cool. And I use, yeah, that's the story. I know you'll say I use Cloud Password Manager. Yeah, I do. I'll tell the story. If you can grab me by the coffee, so I'll tell you everything about it. So actually, right now, yeah, I'm not online. This is the demo gods. I told you, IT is the demo gods. It never works like it should. Sorry. No. Here we go. No, it's not here. Anyway, I'm not online, so demo gods. I'll tell you what happened, and we can sort out things later. So the thing is, what happened is that I got local interpreter session, and I tried to escalate privileges, but I have rules. I can show you the rules, and these are really good. It does say that someone really knows his stuff about security. So this is, if I was doing rules, I would do that like this. So I hack for lulz. This is my policy. So known malware, blah, blah, blah. This is what every other antivirus is doing, but this is really good. So communicating over network, executes code from memory, invokes untrusted process, performs ransomware-like behavior, injects code. For example, if you call virtual alloc X, you try to inject your code into other code process and you're not known Windows program, this is something that you usually learn on reverse engineering courses, then this is standard way to inject your code to perform DLL injection. So these are things that were done by incident response people. This is not like programmer stuff. Executes code from memory. So you look at application path, it does recognize Chrome, Firefox, PowerShell. So usually spawn process, if you do like exploit, you usually exploit from browsers. You use PowerShell for exploitation. You use Visual Basic. And the thing is that they had tests at NSS Labs, you can Google it, and they scored 100%. Just because they did this with this policy, which effectively mitigated everything. Because every known malware that is used some kind of technique that is written here, that it should terminate the process. Anyways, I got like 2 minutes maybe, so yeah. This is to my friend Marmot. I'm doing some special thanking. Special thanks for not mentioning cyber, blockchain, Sun Tzu I mentioned only at the start of the presentation. I didn't bother you with next generation stuff. I mentioned line dormant cyber pathogen or something similar when I was talking about Russians, US, and Chinese, but I was restraining myself. And I also haven't used, which I often see in vendor presentation, framing window policy. So like we do really good stuff like we do in this, but there is a problem that there is a world around it that you don't do so well. I was not trying to sell you the product. I'm just saying it works for me. For example, you have FireEye HX, which is a really good product, and I do like it as well. But this was a presentation about Carbon Black. So you need analysts, you need technicians. And the point of this presentation was be good to your techs, to your consultants, be good to your colleagues that are doing a hard job. They will probably pick the right tool. But if you don't pay people, and if you don't do well with people, tools are just really expensive hammers. Anyways, I don't think we have time for questions, maybe 1, 2 if you have, but if not, you can catch me, I'll be there grabbing a coffee or something. Thank you.